You just are doing. And so, typical Monday, get up, have some quiet time with the Lord, right? Go in, Monday's laundry day, so I start a load of laundry and get the kids all bringing their laundry down and go in and shower and get dressed, maybe. and then, of course, grab some food and get, eat. So notice I didn't say I fix my kids' breakfast. There's another world for the moms that are taking their babies and, making breakfast and everything. Because my youngest is 8, and she's very independent. And so I haven't made breakfast for my kids except on the weekends in a long time. So they get their own breakfast, and that's awesome. But so we're doing breakfast. They're doing their breakfast. I come and do my breakfast. That's really glorious. But, and then we go to start school. And school, just goes right on up to lunch, and then we eat our lunch, and then do more school. The math and the reading, and of course all the interruptions of mom, this and he that, and my pencil, and you get pencil wars. You ever get wars over, they have my pencil. And then we get to finish up our studies, hopefully, and I need to get on, check my emails and check my phone for messages and things like that. I try to set that aside until we're done. And so getting on that, and of course, then I've got my list of, I've got to call the vet, and I've got to call the repairman because our power surge knocked out most of our appliances that particular day, and I had to call a photographer for our holiday shots coming up, and get all that stuff done. And then it was time to take boys over to their friend's house, my daughter over to dance, and then get to the grocery store. Oh, yeah, Craig, could you pick up the kids on the way home? I'm going to be at the store, and I'll be there after you. And so Craig's my husband. And then, so get home with the groceries. Everybody help us unload all the 40 bags of groceries. Hurry and make a quick dinner. Get through dinner, clean it up. You know the routine. Clean it up. Okay, everybody, we got all this laundry thrown everywhere all over the living room. Let's start folding the laundry. Let's get it put away. Let's start folding the laundry, get it put away. Did you hear me? Get in there and get the laundry and put it away. Please, focus. Get and do your kitchen jobs. Everybody has an assignment. And so then I'm like, we've got to gather up the appropriate clothing for so we all match for our photos coming up. Oh yeah, I've got a daughter that's taking an ACT, and I think the deadline's coming up. Rush the computer. We got to get you registered, daughter. And so, look at the time. It's bedtime. Let's get the kids to bed. And that takes a really long time. I've got 6 kids, and they're like all going, Mom, you didn't spend enough time with me. You spent more time on their bed than you did on my bed. And so bedtime takes forever. And then I finally find the man that I love, and we talk about our days, kiss and all that good stuff, and good night. And so, but just our days just go da 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 da, and there's just so many things that can distract us. So my struggle, I shared one of my big struggles that I've worked on for many years, is that being too busy and not being relational enough. What would your struggle be for to have the success that you spoke about or that you want to have? What is that hang up, that vulnerability that you have that's going to set you back? It could be worry, and you could be that worrier that is just always thinking you're not doing enough, or you're worried about health, and you just don't have that inner rest, that peace. Maybe you're discouraged and just very weary in doing good. Cheryl's picture thing just made me think of how weary we can become when it's just, sometimes in our own strength and we're just striving too hard. And like me, maybe it's those extremes. Your struggle is that you're too much and then you're not enough, full throttle, then no throttle. And I think too often we're relationally starved, ladies. We're relationally starved even with our children oddly enough, ironically enough. They're homeschooled, yet maybe we're not getting that quality time with them. And don't feel condemnation in that, but it's, God knows how much we pour in and love them. But we can be relationally starved, or we're missing the mark in that we just see them as objects to control and to mold and form and teach and, get them straightened up because, man, they're a reflection on you, But really, we need to have a sweet, sweet, endearing relationship with our children. There was a kid on vacation at a park, because on vacations we're in playgrounds a lot, and in Colorado. And it was a neighborhood park, and her mama was across the street. And she said, "My mama is my sweetheart." And I melted for her mom in her place. And I just thought, that's one of my goals. And this wasn't like a 3-year-old, okay? This was like a preteen, adolescent age girl. And I thought, I want my kids to always say that mama is their sweetheart and be endeared to me. But they're not going to get that if I am just, dictator mom and, just controlling mom and trying to make everybody perfect mom. I loved that. So maybe that's your struggle, that you're relationally starved there. It could be a lot of us were relationally starved with our spouse, and that's your struggle. You need more time with him. Some of you are not taking date nights, not making him a priority. I know so many times, if I heard it once, I heard it a lot, that Craig would tell me, you have time for, I've heard it so many times I can't say it, the things that are important to you have time for. And because I know I would be out of energy by the end of the day. And so he's like, please save some energy for me and make that a priority. And so it was like, oh, okay. But, we do. The things that are important to us are the things we make time for, is what he would say. And that's so true. And we need to make that time for our husbands and not be that child-centered parent. And we'll save the family a lot of times when we do that. The biggest thing is, of course, our time with God, because that's going to overflow. The best thing we can do, the best gift that you can give anybody, the world, your family, whoever, is your relationship with the Lord. Because like Cheryl said, that sieve, that there's the overflow when you draw into those deep waters with the Lord. And I know those just have been words that we've heard a lot in different forms throughout this summit, but they've become so real to me as I've walked with the Lord, and take on new meaning when you've gone deeper and just pursued him with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And it does take a pursuit. It takes the resolve that you're going to do it. We're going to talk about that in a second. I've got to move on because I'm just loving all this gooey, ooey, stuff where we just go, where are we struggling? So we've got our time with God. That could be your struggle, where you just know you've already been convicted through other talks. This is where I've got to land and get, with grace and just knowing God and pursuing him. A lot of our struggles are just with our flesh. Of course, we're our own enemy, and we've got fleshly issues. I know God's multi-purposeful, and so he puts us in to homeschooling for all different kinds of reasons. And one of them I know for me was that it was going to be my fire, my refining time, one of those ways that he could work in me, because when I started out, I had some issues and a lot of flesh things that needed to be refined, and I still do. But man, looking back, my oldest now 19, I've had a lot of refinement, a lot of anger issues that needed to get resolved. I did not handle my anger well. I did not handle self-control well. How do you handle self-control well? I didn't have a lot of self-control. there was just a lot of things. And we can feel unworthy. That might be your struggle. That you feel unworthy because you've got some flesh that's still hanging on and just where you just go, God, for the 40 millionth time, please forgive me for, And don't give up because there's freedom. And in all areas of life, God wants to break us free of our flesh and selfishness and jealousy and controlling and all those things that we know that could be our struggle that keeps us from that goal of, we get discouraged and want to give up. We want to be that do it all, be it all, have it all together, super successful, but then we're all or nothing. Please don't be all or nothing, ladies. All or nothing is the lie of the enemy that's going to bring so much discouragement that you're not going to see the grace of God, and that it should be all or nothing, all him, nothing of us, right? But that's the only all or nothing that we should have in our life. So how do we, first, define balance. If you know what your struggle is, we're going to define balance, but if you know what your struggle is and the Holy Spirit's been speaking it to you during this, just write it down or write the numerous ones down or whatever, but hopefully you can at least identify one area where you go, this is where I'm vulnerable to get out of whack, to get off balance. Write that down. How do we define balance? To do it all and be it all, and what is it really? And does God require balance? And if we're going to be successful, do we have to have this balance thing? My husband Craig recently hurt his foot from indoor soccer, and he's had to wear this boot. He cracked his toe and tore ligaments, and it's just really nasty and still healing up. And so he's limping around. And, when you limp, that causes more trouble because you're not balanced and you're out of alignment, and it starts to affect the whole body. And that's what happens when we're not balanced with God and inside, is we're limping. And maybe it's some of us, we have issues and everybody goes, look at her, she's limping. We can see the issues, right? But other of us, we can hide it. But inside, we have that limp. And it's affecting all of us. It's affecting all of our being in one way or another. And so we want to have balance, but what is it? How do we define it?